We might be live. Let me make sure before we get started. This will take a minute. There's always a bit of a delay here. Let me know if the audio is working for you guys because I'm using totally different mic setup, so I may have to turn that up. Let's see. Do we even have audio? There, we do have audio. Okay. The color is so far off on this camera. This box is like a dioxazine purple, a purple, and it's showing up like a almost ultramarine blue. So that color's not accurate. Let's see. Thanks, Heather. I am not recording tonight since this one is just a smart, like this isn't all one video. Let's see, go ahead and mute my computer because Stacy likes to text when she knows I'm live streaming and then I get a pop-up noise. It's a whole thing. Okay, that should work. Here we go. Okay, so this video is being sponsored by Smart Art Box. They did provide me with the box, and then any proceeds that they would give me goes straight to a charity called Artists for Trauma. I have a link for that, or should have a link for that in the video description. You should definitely check them out, whether you want to volunteer, donate. It's a great foundation, so definitely recommend looking into that. But with this one, I'm not even sure what month this is. I'm so far behind on my Smart Art Box videos. If you guys... Well, if you're on my email newsletter, you know I've been having massive problems with the computer that I edit with, and I can't edit stuff very easily right now. Like something that should take maybe 5 hours to get up for YouTube is taking me about 3 days. So yeah, it's been a headache, and I'm waiting for the new computer to be available, and it's a whole thing. But anyway, I have some Smart Art Box videos waiting to be edited, and they just haven't happened yet. So let me go ahead and pull the chat up. There we go. Okay. So with this box, we're working in gouache, and this is everything that came in the box. So let's actually move my instruction. Well, I can show you the instructions first. So with the Smart Art Box, what it is a monthly subscription box where every month they send you a box full of full-size art supplies. And along with that, you get an art lesson. It's basically an art lesson in a box. And that's what separates this box from a lot of others out there, is that you are getting a full lesson. So it goes through a history lesson, project pointers, a little bit more about the specific type of gouache in this case that they used, or whatever the art supplies themselves, and then you've got a step-by-step instructions on how to complete your first project. So if it's a medium you've never worked in before, you're not going to feel totally lost, which is pretty cool. So there is that. Let's move that out of the way. Now, they sent 2 canvas boards. I do love that they sent 2 because that's been one of my complaints before where I wish they sent more. They sent 2, which is great, but it's kind of weird. I've not tried gouache on canvas. I mean, I know it'll work. It just seems like a weird choice. I normally would do that on watercolor paper. So I did in case I end up really disliking how it works on the... There is a bluish tint to this. Why is it so blue? But in case I end up really disliking those boards, I have some watercolor paper, and I'm pretty sure this came from a past Smart Art Box. I don't know. I'm not sure where I got this paper. Probably half my pads of paper are from there. So we may end up trying it on this if I don't like the canvas board. I mean, it'll work with what they gave you because they give you everything you technically need for that project. But I'm questioning the canvas boards, not gonna lie. So then onto the palette. They've got a full palette, which is pretty cool. Let's open that up. I really like that they gave a palette because sometimes it's a bit annoying. I actually bought a little watercolor, a porcelain watercolor palette, a small one, because of Smart Art Boxes. They tend to not give you a palette for stuff, and I don't have one for watercolor. So this is going to be pretty nice. That looks like a decent one to work with. Good size there. And then here is the gouache. I've got tons of colors. I am pretty happy with the amount of colors sent in this one. Yeah, I'm kind of excited to play with these. These are most likely not going to be like the most, well, I know that they're not the most expensive gouache colors out there, but they should be decent, decent to play with, and at least get an idea of whether or not this is something that I'm going to want to buy better gouache paints for, or paints. Now, what gouache is, it's opaque watercolor. That's what it is. It'll still lift like watercolor will. So if you want to remove some of the color or move stuff around, or if you're trying to glaze, you got to remember that first layer can lift, or first several layers, or blend in with them. So they're just, stuff to keep in mind as you're working with them. Just think of them opaque watercolor. So let's go ahead and open that up. Oh, and 2 paintbrushes. So these 2 are, we've got a number 8 Filbert and a number 4 round. So that actually looks like a decent set of brushes for this project, or this mediums. Let me figure out how to open this. Oh, I'm glad you're here, Phyllis. Let's get a couple of these. It looks like I'm missing a bunch of questions. Oh, good, you said. Diane says it sounds good. Kelly says, now I can finally find out what the heck gouache is. It's opaque watercolor. The thing that, one of the huge benefits of gouache is that, well, like watercolor, it's going to dry flat. And so it's really good, like illustrators use it a lot. And it works really well if you're going to put ink on top. It's really, really good for mixed media like that. But because of it being dry and flat, it's so easy to photograph. So that's a huge, huge bonus with this. And that's kind of like with the Inktense that I like so much. It dries flat and is really easy to photograph too. So this would be the watercolor version of Inktense blocks. Because Inktense, well, some of the Inktense are more opaque, some aren't. This is like one heck of a set. Open it. Oh, now they're falling out. I need to figure out how I want to do this. Come on, open up. Just remember, if you want me to see your question or if you have a question for me, make sure you do the Lachri Fine Art. If it doesn't highlight in orange, I won't see it. So I'm not trying to ignore anybody. I just cleaned today and here I am throwing all the trash on the floor. I'm really excited about these. I doubt these, I don't know any, oh wait, does it say what the light fast is on this? Conforms to ASTMD. I'm not seeing, that is tiny writing. I'm trying to look to see if it says anything about the light fast ratings, but they don't. Usually stuff like the less expensive paints usually won't test for light fast. If they had tested for it, they're generally going to advertise the heck out of it and make sure you know, like, we put the money into testing that and here are our results. If there are no results, then you can generally pretty safely assume that, come on, open up. Open. What are you doing? Unlock my phone. Why would I unlock my phone? This is not a phone. I'm looking for where my reference photos went. I got a butterfly that I want to paint from Pixabay. My thing is just being ridiculous. There we go. Okay. So, okay, getting started. Here is my, excuse me, my butterfly that I drew up. So I'm going to do that this way. And I can just paint right on this. Now, typically I would paint at my easel, but working in watercolor gouache in this case, I do want to get a watercolor type look, so I want to let the paint kind of flow all over the place. Color-wise, I don't know what I want. I think purple and yellow. I think I'm going to go with maybe some magenta for the background because the butterfly will have orange. So we can go ahead and put some of the colors over here. Oh, these are thicker than I expected them to be. So with these, I'm going to thin them with water just like I would watercolor. And you don't need a lot. Well, you shouldn't. If the pigment is decent, you shouldn't need a lot. A little bit does typically go a really long way with something like this. Jenny said, I'm so glad you're doing this one. I haven't been game to try this box yet, so this will definitely help me. I have so many boxes I need to go through. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then one out there, 6. So yeah, this, and then this is 7. Yeah, I am really behind on these videos, like painfully so. What other colors do I want in this? I think maybe this green, this yellowy green. Do I like this? Let's find out. No, that's too yellow. I want more of a green. That looks pretty. Okay, ooh, that's really bright. Let's use these for the backgrounds. Went to an art supply store yesterday. Speaking of pretty colors, that one reminded me of it because I just bought that in Liquitex. I finally saw some of the new Liquitex colors. I got the biggest bottle of teal. It's so pretty. Or I think it was turquoise teal. I don't know. It's big. It's pretty. I'm pretty excited about it. Let's see. Dee Dee Fletcher said, Lisa, can you put colored pencil on top? Absolutely. You can. My pencils are actually right next to me, so, and in front of me, so I may end up doing that. But yes, this works. This is a really good medium, like watercolor, for mixed media, where you put this down first, then you can go on top with your details with your pencil. So absolutely. Django said, is this your first gouache experience, or have you used the more permanent acrylic gouache before? I have used the more permanent acrylic gouache. I've played with gouache. It's been years. Because I was never really interested in watercolor until I got my Derwent watercolor pencils and realized, oh my gosh, I love these. So now I will be playing more with all of these tools. But if I like this, I may invest in more expensive gouache colors that would, have light fast ratings. So there is a possibility of me ending up doing that. We'll see. It's one of the things I like so much about Smart Art Box. I'm going to get my canvas wet so this will flow, hopefully. I don't know, because it's a canvas and not watercolor paper. This is really weird to me. But I'm really curious, or this is why I like the Smart Art Box so much, because if I'm curious and I'm like, I don't know if this is a medium I'm really going to like very much, I get to try it out before I go and spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, which is typically what I do when I get a new art supply or decide that that's something I'm interested in. So this lets me just test that out, get a pretty good feel for it, because it does give you everything you need to at least complete something and get an idea if it's something you might be more interested in. So I'm just going to get my whole background wet so everything just bleeds together. That's my goal. We'll see if that happens. It may not happen. I don't know. Let's see. The Cove said, thank you for the coral reference photos. You're welcome. I'm glad you like them. If you guys have not, if you're not signed up for my email newsletter, you should be, because you get cool stuff out of it. But I shared in this week's newsletter, which I think is posted on my Facebook page and Twitter as well, but where you can get some free reference corals, like amazing high quality reference photos from Tidal Gardens. So you should definitely check those out. Okay, what color first? I think I'm going to go with the green. Ooh, that's bright. That's pretty. Okay, this is spreading pretty nicely on the canvas. It's weird because if I'm painting on if you're painting on watercolor paper, it's going to soak in more, so you're going to get different results than the canvas. The canvas, it's just going to kind of sit on top because this is a gessoed canvas. So it's going to give different results. Now, here, I don't need to mix a bunch of water in with my palette because I've already put water on the canvas, so I have to keep that in mind and balance that. If I put too much water, like I normally would if I were going onto dry paper or a dry canvas, it would be just too runny. The other thing I do want to point out, this one, if you look at the paint puck, this water thing, and I need to make a full video on it. I've been using it for a few months now, testing it out, and I really do like it. This one's pretty handy. It's got a little rubber bottom on it, and I don't like the little holders where you would put your paintbrush. I'm tempted to cut those off. But the container itself is actually pretty nice. You can get those if they're still there, on Amazon. But if you see that in the video at all, that is what I'm using. And I need to slide this up. So the color that you guys are seeing is bright yellow, and it's actually more of a lime green. I wonder if I can fix that. My color is just off on this, where I've got everything set up tonight. Nothing is quite picking up the way I want it to, so I apologize for that. I'm very blurry. You know why? Because hold on, I actually can probably fix that. I know why it's doing that. It's fighting with me hold on, let me see. It wants to change the focus. No, focus is turned off. I don't know why I'm blurry. I guess I'm going to have to go with it today. And I do want to see if I can fix the easel, though. That color is, not the easel, this one. Hold on, configure this. My white balance is all kinds of not right. That's still not right. Let's go with auto then on that. That is not working. I don't even know how to fix. This doesn't have options here for me to fix the color. But yeah, you're seeing yellow. I'm seeing lime green. That is really unfortunate. And I do have autofocus off on this. Yes. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. Let's see. Let's get this out of the way. Redo my chat window really quick. Get a couple questions. Patty Picasso says, hello from Thursday. I'm looking forward to being Thursday. My parents are coming tomorrow, which is my Thursday. I wish it was Thursday. Let's see. Kelly said, I've never heard of Van Gogh colored pencils. I had never heard of Van Gogh colored pencils today. They were light, fast, and really good. Have you used them before? I have not. Carlene said, is it just me? The green looks yellow when applied to the canvas. Yeah, and it's weird, isn't it? I don't know why it's too, this is not my normal lighting setup. I don't know if it's that or if it's the webcam or I don't know what it's doing, but it looks the right color in the palette, but on the paper, it's like super yellow looking. And it's got to be the way the light is refracting through, I'm guessing, because I do have a warm yellow light above me and I think it's just picking that up. It's very odd though. I wasn't expecting that to film that way. I'm just better get more water on there before that starts to dry. So one of the things that I do like about watercolor versus Inktense, sometimes it can be a negative and sometimes it's a huge positive, is that if it starts to dry, it reactivates pretty easily. So I can go back over an area and still have really smooth blending. And sometimes that can be a little bit of a challenge with Inktense. Cassie said, I know this isn't a colored pencil video, but I bought some Castle Art Supply colored pencils and really love them. Do you know anything about them and the company that makes them? I do not. I have not heard of them. Whoops. We've got Carlene said, looks much better. Greenish for me now. Oh, good. It's not for me. It is like yellow for me, what I'm seeing on the screen. Jenny said, as the paint is drying, it's going green, so it must be the light. Yeah, that would make sense. It still looks really yellow to me. Mercy says, have a good time with your parents. Have some fun art times. Thanks. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull another color in there. Now, I want my purple to be really, really light. So, well, this is going to be different. This is one thing that's different with the gouache versus a watercolor. With watercolor, I'm going to let the white of the paper show through. Here, I can lighten it. I'm going to add more water, but not, it is going to dry more opaque, so not as much of the canvas will show through. See, as I add a lot, this is what I don't like about the canvas painting on it, to thin it out to get that lighter color. See how it's all grainy and gritty looking? I don't even know if it looks that way for you guys. Let's see. Let me look at what, yep, well, you can kind of see it, but it's showing the tooth of the canvas in a way that I don't like. So to lighten that color up, I'm just going to go ahead and add white to it, like I would with acrylics. With watercolor, like normal watercolor, you would just let the white of the paper, and I could do that if I were working on watercolor paper, but here, this is not allowing for that. So I'm just going to lighten that so I can make the paint thicker, use less water. There we go. It's actually a pretty color. And I'm going to be pretty loose on this. I'm not going super like detailed or realistic. That one's really thick, a little too thick for me. Let's thin that out with some water and spread that around. Yeah, that is definitely more than I wanted. Wipe some of that off. There we go. And you want to remember when you're mixing the purple in with it's yellow-green, but still a yellow tone. I'm going to get a very neutral brownish tone. It's going to neutralize it a lot because those colors are very close to being complementary. I mean, technically, well, on your screen, it's yellow. On mine, it is a lime green, but yellow enough that it is going to neutralize that purple. And I'll get a very soft tone as those two mix together. So I've got a clean brush. I just went ahead and cleaned that off, and I'm going to let these colors, I want my brush strokes to go ahead and show or smudge. So let's pull these into each other. Carlene said, how different is it from Liquitex Basics? Hugely so, because Liquitex Basics are actual acrylics. Those are going to be permanent when dry, where this isn't. This is much, much more like, think Inktense blocks, but they can lift like watercolor. But they have the opacity that like when you add white with the Inktense blocks. So that's going to be your big difference there. And you can layer. You just have to watch how you layer because the previous layers can or will lift if you overblend it or overdo it. It's actually a very fun medium to work in. I've not used them very much at all. It's been years since I used real gouache. I'm going to get some magenta in there. And that's really dark too. So I'm just going to scoop up some white and go right on top of it. So I can mix right on my canvas. Yes, definitely the canvas is not my favorite for this medium. I would not choose canvas. If you're using this, I mean, try the canvas, but also if you've got this box, try it also on any of your old, like if you have a Smart Art Box subscription, you get a lot of pads of paper. Try it on one of your watercolor papers. I just like the feel of that much, much better personally. Just add a bit of water so I can smudge that around, spread it out a bit. I'm just going to throw some water and let it kind of run into each other. I don't think I have my spray bottle in here. That's another thing that you can do is take a spray bottle and just mist it. Yeah, see, it's starting to pill up. Like it doesn't want to stick. This canvas is not intended for watercolor, so I'm really not sure. Not my favorite. Doable, not my favorite. Let's get some more magenta up here. I'm making a mess. And the same thing with the magentas. That blends in with any yellows. You're going to get a fairly neutral, soft color, almost an orange. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. Actually, I'm going to let that set for a minute and answer some questions because I don't have a hairdryer over here like I do at my palette or my easel. But this is one of the reasons that I wanted to work flat on a table tonight, because the amount of water that I'm going to use, and especially on canvas, it's just going to puddle up and run like crazy. I can almost let it do that intentionally by lifting the canvas, but yeah, let's go. Ursi says the paint looks green for him, the opposite of being yellow, what I just painted with the brush strokes. Interesting. Pablo says, thoughts, updates on luminance versus Derwent Lightfast 7210. I checked the color chart. The new colors personally don't excite me. Of the colors outside of the 48 are Lightfast 1. I haven't looked into it. I don't know what the colors are yet. So no, I don't have anything with that or any information on that yet. Beach Mama says, Lisa, do you happen to know when the rest of the Derwent Lightfast colors is going to be available? I have the 36 set. It's supposed to be, I think it was the end of summer in the US. I'm not sure if you'll get it earlier in the UK, but I want to say it was supposed to be sometime summer, end of summer is what they were saying. Have I ever used egg tempera? Yes, when I was a child. I have no interest in using it again. Okay. Let's go ahead and actually let's throw some blue in here too. Let's play with all of the colors. I mean, may as well. I'm going to throw some white in that though. I know that's going to be really bold. A little bit of water. Since this flower is going to be pink, I figured I probably should break that up. Let's throw some blue in there. Be careful when adding the blue because it will turn to green on the yellow. If you don't want yellow or don't want green, don't put it right up against a yellow color. Yeah, that's fun and colorful. Okay. Check the Derwent UK Facebook. The color chart is announced. Yeah, I'll have to go look at that. Kelly said, took your advice from last week about starting with smaller sets to learn to mix colors. Bought the travel set of Inktoons. It came today. I'm so excited to try it out tonight. Those are fun. Do with the travel set, though, I do recommend get white. Get yourself a little block of white because it doesn't include that. And it is easier if you have white. I would just add that one thing to it. Ursi says, is this gouache probably really good for outdoor gouache painting? Yeah, definitely. Outdoor, this would absolutely be a good medium for that. Okay, I'm going to put this on fairly thick and chunky. I don't want a bunch of water because I'm not going to blend this out. There's a little bit of water on the brush, but not a lot. Let's get more white. Ooh, way more white. That is just blending in. I may have to wait for this to dry a bit more. We'll have to sit and chat while I wait. Yeah, that's not going to stand out enough yet. I guess if I add a little bit of purple and I can go with on top of the lights. We'll just go with the dark first. Yeah, I'm really not liking this canvas. It is pretty much what I expected. Now, these canvases, just whether or not you want to paint on canvas with watercolor, this would not be the canvas. This canvas is rough. It's not fun. Like, I wouldn't choose this canvas for acrylic. It's too rough. I mean, yes, it can be done. You can make something very pretty. But you want to watch the surface that you choose because it's going to affect the results that you get. I am kind of really liking these gouache colors. Not a huge fan of these canvases. If you want to use a canvas with a watercolor, try a watercolor canvas. That's going to make a big difference in the results that you're getting. Like here, this is just so like this bumpy, grainy, gritty look. I have to add a lot of water to make that not happen. But by adding so much water, I'm not getting the result I want because I'm having to add that's a lot of water to get that and it starts to bleed. And so I'm not super, super thrilled at all. Of course, I went into it not expecting to like it, but that's just the nature of these canvases. I'm not a fan. Not for this. And I'll define this better in a bit. And see, this is another reason I would rather go with paper, because if you go with paper, you can go on top with ink and your colored pencils will work much, much better. So don't take this, what's happening, the grainy, and I don't think it even looks grainy and gritty for you guys. For some reason, it's coming out overly soft, but don't look at that and go, I'm not going to try that gouache or try gouache at all because those aren't the results I want. I don't think gouache should be on this medium or this thing. So that's really more of something I'm not happy with the canvas, not the paint itself. I'm liking the colors. I'm liking the thickness of them. These are definitely, I would say, would be worth, if you want to give gouache a try, would certainly be worth trying, just not this surface. But then I'm also somebody who doesn't like that dotted look, and I thin my paint so much when I work with watercolor. If I painted really thick, if I use these like acrylics where I was painting really thick, it would probably be okay on this canvas. It's because I am thinning them out so much, because I'm acting like you're supposed to with watercolor or gouache. And so I think that's why I'm getting these pixelated type. I am saying pixelated, and it's just the dot of the canvas. You can really see the tooth of that showing through. Okay, I'm going to let that set. I'm going to fill in the butterfly, just get a base layer, and then we can answer some questions. So if you have questions, go ahead and start asking them now. And then once I get this filled in, we'll come and answer them. Or chat about stuff. I don't care. It doesn't have to be a question. It can just be a comment. Please be nice comments. Okay, I'm going to start with yellow. I'm going to add a bit of white. I want to make that fairly light on a few of these spots. So usually if I paint a monarch butterfly, like just if I'm going to do it quickly, don't look at it and go, okay, the wings are orange, just paint them orange. It'll generally look better. Get some variation, get some orange, some red, some yellow, get a lot of variation in there. I don't have to copy my reference photo, and I'm going fairly loose on this. I don't have to copy it exact, but I can still make it look a lot better than just a simple basic cartoon, you know, filling it into super solid by getting variation in these colors. Let those blend. It doesn't have to be real smooth because I'm going to go over it with black anyway. I think that with a lot of the Smart Art boxes, sometimes I'll keep the material, sometimes I'll give them or donate them to a friend or somebody. These ones I think are definitely one that I would keep. Not the canvas. Anna, if you're watching, you get the canvas. But the gouache, I'm really enjoying. Oh, red. Let's get some red. I wonder how hard this palette's going to be to clean out. I mean, it's gouache, so watercolor. It should be easy enough. I don't think it'll stain too bad. Let's get a little... I'm just going to let that run in with it with that red. Oh, and then the black portion of this, I'm going to paint just purple, and then I'll go on top with black later. Oh, good, it does come with black to define everything. But, or, you know, get the shadows and stuff. But I'm going to start with just purple. Yeah, it should, like, this should go super smooth, but because this canvas is not smooth, not so much. And this does reactivate very much like how Inktense, if you've got Inktense on a plastic palette and you add more water, it reactivates. So it doesn't like acrylic paint. If acrylic paint starts to dry on my palette, I'm not going to reuse that. It's dry. It needs to be scraped off. This reactivates. So that's pretty handy. And this doesn't need to be smooth. I just want to get a dark base. Okay, we're going to let that set before I put anything else in because I'm going to start creating mud while that's wet, or they're all just going to start bleeding together. So we'll let that set for a minute. I don't need it 100% dry, but I need it more dry than what it is now. So let's go ahead and get caught up on some of these questions. Let's see. Where did we leave off? Flower Farm asked if I had something drawn on there. I loosely, with a graphite pencil, sketched out where I wanted my butterfly. Loose, very loose. It is not well defined at all. There will be something on this later on, and this is not on camera. Let's slide that over. I'm going for a very loose. I'm not going for a super detailed, realistic one, so I didn't need anything to be perfect on this. I just want to kind of play with the paints. One of the things that I do recommend, gosh, this is driving me crazy. Why is that so out of focus? This should not be out of focus here. Why are you out of focus, camera? I'm not super happy with this webcam so far, I have to say. But anyway, it's like the background is in focus, but the thing it's aimed at, not so much. It's blurring out. I'll have to mess with that. Anyway, let's see. To have, okay, Paige said, I messaged you on YouTube about not getting your tin of Inktense blocks. Got gifted a set of 72 from Amazon and a second set of 72 of your tin. Oh, that's awesome. Yay. That's fun. I just saw today on Amazon, it was like mom's gifts or suggested gifts for mom. Yeah, I waited too long. I have not gotten anything from my mother-in-law or my own mom. My mom's here tomorrow. It's not even like I can shop before then. I'm going to have to find something on Amazon. But anyway, one of the first things that came up was the tin of Inktense with my turtle on it. I was like, it's fun. I was pretty excited. I'm on Amazon. Let's see. Where was I? Cassie said, where do I go to get your email newsletter? I want to know your site to see your art. It's amazing. You're my newest art hero. You're so inspirational. I learn a lot from you. Thank you, Cassie. Just go to lachri.com, LACHRI.com. And when you scroll down, there's a little thing that you can fill in your email information there. And then not all my work, but a lot of my work is on there too. Let's see. Nina said, what are you going to paint tonight? Well, eventually it might be a butterfly. I'm painting a hot mess is what I'm painting. Elaine said, when photographing your work, do you leave it taped to the board to take photos? I'm having trouble figuring out the best way to set pictures up. Yes, I always leave it to the board. I don't remove it from the tape until I've gotten the final photos. Otherwise, I just have to retape it again anyway to make sure everything's flat. So yeah, I try to get photos as soon as possible because you don't want to leave tape on your work too long. You want to get that off as soon as you can. So don't, wait 2 months to get photos and then realize it's really adhered, like bonded to that paper. So yeah, I do leave it taped to the board, but again, try to get that fairly quick. Don't let it set too long. Let's see. Brent said, do you think these would work on crescent watercolor boards? If it's intended for watercolor, yes. Anything for watercolor is going to be way better. These canvas boards really would be acrylic and oil would be the things I would say. Or even like those oil markers that I used, those were super cool. Those would work on these. What is the name of them? Why can't I think of them right now? I want to say Pablo, but I don't think that was it. What were those? But that would be cool for this. But with these watercolor, yeah, anything intended for watercolor would be a good choice. These, I don't know why they didn't go with watercolor canvases, because watercolor canvases would be cool. That gives you a very different result because it allows the paint to soak into the paper. Right now, this is just setting on top, which, I mean, that may be the result that you want. It's not what I want. So, and that may just come down to personal preference. And that's one of the things that's cool about these boxes. It lets you try that. I now know this would not be the way, if I was going to do like a big, really detailed painting, would not be on a canvas at all. It would definitely be on something intended for watercolor. In my case, probably a hot press watercolor paper. That tends to be my favorite. Let's see. Heather said, on Patreon, can I download the reference pictures multiple times? Like right now, I have my phone or tablet, not a computer, and I want to have them on all devices. Absolutely. Yep, you can do that. Like, even if I wanted to put a limit, I can't. Like, the technology wouldn't even be there to limit you on that. So, yeah, you'd be fine either way. But no, you can put them on all your devices. Jesse said, how are my fish doing? They are great. They have to have a water change later, which is normally tomorrow because my parents are here. I have to work. Normally I take a break after the live stream and like turn into a vegetable, and I can't do that tonight. But yeah, they're actually all doing really good. My snail out of my beta tank keeps escaping. I came home 2 days ago. He was on, I couldn't find him, looked for him all day, like in the tank. I ended up doing a big water change that night. Looked for him again. I had to do a water change anyway, but I was looking for him then, couldn't find him. I pulled the tank out. I'm looking behind it. I looked in the plant that was next to it. Can't find him. I was texting my friend actually Kyle, one of the moderators today. I texted him asking, where do these guys get out of the tank? I didn't even know if they could. So he's like, yeah, and as I was texting him, I'm look over and he's like, he had moved like super far away from the tank. He was nearly made it to my sink. Not sure where he thought he was going. So I put him back in the tank. He was fine. And then the next day I made sure that the lid was on better. And yeah, he still was able to get out of that one. He was on my kitchen floor. I don't know how he didn't crack his shell because I'm pretty sure he fell. Yeah, that's, he's being a bit of a pain right now. But other than that, the fish are all great. The snail is being a bit problematic at the moment. So there is a lid on his tank, so he can't get out right now. I put the lid and butter knives are holding it down. It's very, very high class. Let's see. Julia said, tips for starting YouTube. Just start. First sign up for Tim Schmoyer, or, subscribe to Tim Schmoyer or video creators here on YouTube. Best tips ever. Definitely watch all his, and even his old stuff, like really old stuff. You've got so much content that is going to help you out. Watch that. Be consistent. Pick a day of the week. Like every Wednesday, I'm going to upload. Pick one day that you're going to do every single week. At least once a week. The more you upload, the faster you're going to grow. And don't just upload for the sake of uploading though. Try to find something that you would be interested in. If you are not going to be interested in, like, would you watch that video? If you wouldn't, probably no one else really is going to either. But being consistent is a big deal. And just get started. Don't wait until you have the best camera or have done all the research or whatever else. You can always take a video down or put it unlisted if you wanted to later on if you decided it wasn't good. Just get started though. That's my biggest tip, is just do it. Don't wait around waiting for like the perfect moment, because it won't happen. If you have to record on a cell phone, record on a cell phone, just get started. But video creators is one of my favorites for tips that will help you out with all of the YouTube things. Patty says, there's an artist in the UK called Minnie Small who works in gouache. Her YouTube channel is class. I will have to look that up. Or her up. Stacy said, what if you use Daniel Smith ground for watercolor on canvas? You can. Some people do. I don't know. Canvas is just not the tooth I'm looking for if I'm painting in watercolor. Like, it's not going to give me the results that I want. Can I make it look pretty? Absolutely. Is it going to be my first choice? Oh no, not at all. And a lot of this comes down to, though, I like working with watercolor and ink tints and such. I like that on surfaces for watercolor. And so a lot of my complaints right now are absolute personal preference. If you paint on on canvas with these mediums and you like it, go for it. This is just me complaining because it's not my preference. Let's see. Kelly said, watercolor board works pretty well with gouache. Just tried some out recently. By the way, love the footage from the show you went to. Thanks. Yeah, watercolor canvases or watercolor canvas boards are really, like, I really like painting on those. And I use those for acrylics too. I've got a bunch of them here from Frederick's. They're wonderful to paint on because it allows the paint to just soak just a little bit. It goes into it, so it's not just puddling everywhere. Real nice surface. Ercy says, this is very spontaneous. The painting elegant looks. Thanks. Pablo said, in a big surprise to me, the 72 and 100 color chart was released 3 months ago. It was with the Derwent Lightfast. I did not know that. I was a bit disappointed to see 0 new Lightfast 1, but I trust Derwent to get it right. Good luck today. As long as, see, that was one of the reasons originally, and it was kind of funny, that my understanding was originally they had Lightfast 1 and 2. 2 is still Lightfast. You're still as Lightfast as Carandosh. 2 is perfectly acceptable and still very Lightfast. But then they were like, they wanted it to be more Lightfast, somebody told me. And so they went through and weren't going to release the other. I don't know what was going on with that. And a lot of artists were like, just release them. We're good with, like, Lightfast 2 is fine. Just give me more colors. But yeah, we definitely need to look into that. Cal says, Anna says, thanks, and I love you. Love you too, Anna. I've got lots of supplies for you. Let's see. This just scrolled too far. Sorry. Buzz Art says, how do you choose what subjects to paint for your tutorials or live streams? Today I just went to Pixabay and I was actually looking for photos of snails because, like, snails are in my head since my whole, like, I'm paranoid, by the way, the story about the snail that keeps getting out of the tank. It creeps me out so much to think I could have stepped on him and had snail between my toes, like, because I walk around barefooted. It's weirding me out. And so now every single time I go into my kitchen, I'm like looking on the floor to make sure I don't step on them again. Like, stop getting out of the tank. But anyway, I was going to paint a snail. And so I was on Pixabay looking for that. And then this one came out. I was like, you know what? This will be easier for tonight's because I don't like canvas. I'll do a snail later. I actually want to paint that snail. They're really cute. But no, it's just whatever I'm in the mood for. Usually, like for today, I didn't have anything set other than I was kind of in this snail mindset. So I just went on to Pixabay and just did a quick search, and that's how often I will do. Now, if it's something surreal, that's going to be more planned out. Like, or if I took a photo, like when I go and get photos of wildlife, if I find a photo that just I want to paint that or draw that, and sometimes I Photoshop like weird, make it surreal. It varies. Basically, there's no answer for you. I have lots of reasons or lots of things of how they will contribute to how I decide. Many times it's because the photo, there's something about the photo that I look at and just think it's so pretty and want to recreate it or make a few adjustments to it or something like that. But tonight was pretty simple. I was doing a search for snail, and for some reason someone tagged a butterfly as a snail, and it came up on that search for Pixabay. Nina said, is it going to be a butterfly? I hope so. It's not looking so hot right now, though. Dee Dee Fletcher said, Lisa, I painted a colored pencil portrait of a couple on cold press watercolor paper. They didn't look quite right. Should I redo it on smoother paper? Yes. Cold press watercolor paper is not really suitable for colored pencil. It's going to give you a very rough, grainy, gritty look. If you want a rough, grainy, gritty look, then yeah, that's perfectly fine paper. It's not an issue of like being archival or whatever else. It's just that you're not going to get the same level of detail and smoothness that you would on a hot press watercolor paper. So yeah, I would definitely redo that. I mean, I haven't seen it, so I'm not saying your work looks terrible or anything, but if it were me, yes. Hap Fun Sun said, when using Inktense as a background, can I put acrylic on top of them? Yes, you can. Because they're both water-based, so you would be safe. Ursi said, are you going to go over the painting with light fast colored pencils? Not on this canvas. This is a rough, like this is not my favorite canvas, but it's not really going to be good for colored pencils. I could, it's just going to eat through them because it's really, really rough. Not suitable for that. Am I going to do anything for Mermay? No, I don't have any plans for that. I don't usually do a lot of the, like the challenges and such that go around. Okay, that's starting to dry. I think I can switch over to the round brush and start putting some details. I don't typically do much for those, because I usually have so many other projects that I need to get done. I don't have time to do some of the fun little challenge ones that come out. Some of the video or the artwork I've been seeing people post in the art group, there's been some really neat mermaid work. So I think it's probably one of my favorite ones that I've seen somebody come up with for those challenges. I just don't have time for it. I have too many projects I'm already behind on. So you can't see because, God, that is out of focus. Hold on. I have got to fix this. This should not be that. And it shouldn't be. I don't know why. Why are you being silly? Weirdly enough, though, it's not out of focus here. It's out of focus for me on YouTube. Huh. Do I not have my settings very high? Oh, yeah. 360. That explains why it's so out of focus. That was, okay, I can calm down about that. That wasn't the pro. It's fine. Ignore me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. Let's see. Paige said, my Mother's Day gift is going to be your 10 of 72 Inktense pencils. That's awesome. I actually considered doing that for my mom because I have a smaller set here from Derwent. And I was thinking about giving that to her, but I'm like, is that weird? She's not going to use them. It's just that it has my art on it. And I'm like, that might be, I don't know if she wants that or not. I mean, she's my mom, so she's going to act like she wants anything I give her, but I don't know if she actually wants that. So I'm not sure. Let's see. I have to actually pay a little bit of attention to what I'm doing here. I don't need these lines to be exact, but close would be good. And I'll come back through with black to darken stuff up. But this way, starting with the purple, it makes it easy for me to get, I mean, these are basically all my highlights. Well, I could go a little lighter, but whatever. So I have to add a decent, more water than I would like to, just because this is so, the canvas is so rough. One of the things that's so fun about painting something like this, it doesn't have to be exact. If I were doing a portrait, I would have to take my time and make sure everything was on there right. On a butterfly, if my lines are not quite right, it so does not matter. And when you're working on a medium that you're not used to, or your first time using a medium, don't try to jump into something that's like the most difficult thing you've ever painted. Go with something super basic. Just get a feel for the paint. Like my next time using gouache, I will certainly take my time and put more effort into it. But it's been so long for me at this point. I just want to play with the paint and get a feel. So when I do something more serious, I already know what not to do. Basically, today's project is all the things not to do in the future for me. But you don't want to put a ton of pressure on yourself when you're trying something new, wanting everything to be absolutely perfect, because that just kind of, it gets stressful and you don't have as much fun. And then you may end up not liking the medium just because you were stressing yourself out while doing it, not because the medium was bad. Let's see. Margine said, are my fairy lights only outside the jars or inside too? They're all outside. I think, yeah, those are all outside the jars. Renee said, I thought gouache was like watercolor, used to be used on paper and other watercolor surfaces. Why did they give you canvas boards? That is a good question that I would like to know. No, I'm not. If you haven't watched from the beginning of the live stream, I spent most of it complaining about the canvas boards. I'm not happy with this combination at all. I would certainly prefer a watercolor medium because it is watercolor. It's just opaque watercolor. And so a different medium or different surface would certainly be a better choice. I really do not understand why they went with these. It was, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, other than the fact that I guess the point of Smart Art Box is it has you try things you might not have otherwise tried. Well, I sure wouldn't have tried this canvas. So, I mean, I guess in that sense, it's a win. But I'm not a fan of this. It's funny. I wouldn't say I'm not a fan of this specific month's box. I actually do I really am happy with the gouache. I'm super happy they sent these. I'm just not understanding their surface choice. Other than I know some of my other boxes had pads of paper that were suitable for this. And I wonder if they were just trying to mix it up and give you variety. I haven't talked to them, so I don't know what the thought process was behind this. But that's okay. I have tons and tons of watercolor pads from them from other boxes, so it'll be good. I can do another project later. Like, it's getting that dry brush look that I hate because this canvas is just too thick. The centers will be yellow, but I'm lightening it with the white first. Need to rinse that. I'm pulling some of the purple up because, like I said before, being that it is watercolor, it does lift some of the previous layers. So I need to rinse that brush because I'm starting to pull purple from underneath. And if I still had white on the brush, but it was turning to purple white. And if I went on top of the yellow, that would be transferred over. So you do want to watch when you clean your brush. Make sure you are paying attention to if it's lifted color from other areas. So I'm going to go through with some white. I have to reload that a bit because it's starting to pick up the orange. Let's see what I mean before. I was saying, when you paint the monarch butterflies, don't look at it and go, oh, orange wings, solid orange. If you get some other color in there, even if you go super simple like this, it still looks prettier. And that is still out of focus. I thought I fixed it. I have no idea why this camera, it's aimed. Are you aimed at my work? I think you're aimed at my work. You should be. I don't know what's going on with that. I'll just sit here and complain about it. Let's see. Oops, I've got the wrong chat open. That is why I can't find where I left off. Clarence said, you read my mind. I'm currently experimenting with Holbein Artist Color Gouache on tone mixed media paper. I didn't know they made gouache. I guess Holbein makes pretty much everything, don't they? I have a lot of their airbrush paints. And that just scrolled too far. Whoops. Paige said, what is a good watercolor paint that's not too expensive but still good quality? You're going to have to ask everyone else. I'm not a watercolor expert. Actually, you may want to check with Lena Dania. She works in watercolor and does amazing work. So she may have some suggestions, but generally speaking with art, you don't get good quality or with a low price. They don't typically go hand in hand. So you have to kind of choose, do you want quality or do you want a low price? It may be something you want to save up a bit more for and get something better than to jump into one that's not high quality. Yeah. That just as a general rule, there are very few exceptions to that. I mean, like Liquitex Basics are my favorite acrylic paint, and they tend to be lower cost. So there are some supplies out there. I don't know with watercolor because that's not really a medium I work in often. So I would check with Lena Dania. She's here on YouTube. See if she can give you some information. Sunshine said, hi Lisa, suggestions for a very limited gouache color palette, watercolor artist. Color suggestions for a limited gouache color. I'm not sure what you mean by color suggestions. It depends on what you're doing. So no, I mean, I can't list out any colors besides what I would for any other paint. Get your basic red, blue, like a mid-range, like primary blue, red, yellow, white, black. I like brown. You can mix brown, but I use it enough. I'd prefer just to buy a basic brown. And probably a dioxazine purple. Beyond that, you can mix pretty easily anything you want from there. So those would probably, I guess, would be the colors, but that would be my suggestion for any medium. Nancy said, crafts for kids style egg tempera is different from pro quality egg tempera as painting with food coloring is from using. Yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot about tempera. It's never, so the thing that ends up drawing me to a medium is when I see an artist do something, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I want my work to look like that. And the very few paintings I've seen done with egg tempera weren't great examples of like the style that I want mine to be. Not saying it can't be done. I've just not seen it a lot. So it's rare enough that it's not something that really like drew me in where I went and researched it. So maybe we need some better, more established egg tempera artists to teach the rest of us your ways, because I don't know much about it. I did have a guy who painted in tempera here on YouTube leave a really nasty comment about how I'll never be good. Because great artists, I don't know, he went on a rant about me being a decent, what was it? My paintings were okay, but I'll never be a great artist. And he went on. And so I went and looked at his channel and he painted in egg tempera. I'm not sure why he was judging anyone. It was kind of funny. He was a tool. He got blocked. Let's see. Heather said, I'm waiting to start my YouTube filming for when I get my new place. Trying to draw is hard enough right now as I am. I'm living with my parents temporarily. Yeah, I can see you wanting to wait then. That makes sense. Watch all of the video creators' videos then. Kind of come up with a plan on, and like you can start making up ideas for what you want your videos to be. Like that, I think would be a great place for you to start right now. Brainstorming and coming up with storyboards and such. It'll make it easier once you start filming. Ursi said, give your mother tomorrow a butterfly painting that you are painting. This one is honestly not going to be worth giving to anybody, but I do have a butterfly that I did in watercolor pencils that I'm going to be giving her. I still want to buy her something though. She has so many of my paintings. It's probably like, oh, yay, another one. My mom's fun to shop for. She likes like really goofy, weird, like off the wall stuff. My mother-in-law is a challenge. She'll always act like she likes what you want, but you can tell like you did not want that, right? I'll probably end up just getting her a gift card to like a restaurant or something. She's really hard to shop for. She's the one that's going to be more work. My mom, if it's random and weird, she'll love it. Ever consider doing live stream on Twitch? Sort of, but not really, because I would have to start over again. I mean, I don't have a following on Twitch, so I'd be starting completely from scratch. Yeah, I can advertise on Instagram and Facebook, so I mean, it wouldn't be completely from scratch, I guess, but I just haven't because I already have a following on YouTube, so it's more fun to do live streams when people will actually watch them, and I would have to start over a bit on Twitch. So I'm not sure what the bonuses are. Maybe you guys know. I don't know why I would choose Twitch over YouTube. I mean, YouTube typically works for me. The problems I'm having right now, I don't think are YouTube. I think the problems are my camera is. There's probably some user error issues going on right now, but I don't know what benefits there would be for me doing Twitch versus this. Paige said, is my art group only on Facebook? I do not use Facebook. We have one now on MeWe. I always forget how that's worded, but we do have a group over there now. And I should have a description or a link in the description. If not, I need to put one. I forgot. I did not check. I copied and pasted, so I may have missed it. Whoops. That just scrolled way too far. Oh my gosh, this really scrolled too far. I am missing tons. Here we go. The painting looks spoofed. Classicism. Give it to your mom. No, my mom would not like this style. This looks like, although it would bring her back to when I was 5. I mean, it kind of looks like something I did as a kid. Can you tell I'm not taking this one super seriously? Because it's a canvas board. Like, this is not what... That's my problem. See, I'm going into it with the wrong attitude. I could make this look amazing if I decided I was going to, but I went into it, and this is, I guess, a good advice or good tip with painting in general. The attitude you go into something makes a difference. For me, I went into this with the attitude of, it's a canvas board. It's not my favorite. I'm not taking it serious. I'm just going to kind of play and make a mess. I could make if I took the time, I guarantee you I could make this look super realistic if I wanted to, but I went into it with a bad attitude, in all honesty, of I don't like this canvas, so I'm not going to try very hard. Not a good attitude. I need to take my own advice. But no, I'm not giving this to this. No, this is not my best. This isn't even like my bottom of my work. Like, this is, I'm not trying hard enough. Eric Draw said, do you think Game of Thrones is not as good as before? Yeah, I mean, it's fun, I guess. It's just kind of, it feels rushed. I feel like they're trying to move. The first 2 episodes didn't make sense to me because it was like talking, and then stuff happened, and then all the things happened, and it was like all that talking could have been a little bit, I don't know. I don't know. But then again, I think everyone had Game of Thrones built up so much that no matter what they did, it wasn't really going to live up to anybody's expectations. I think it would have been hard for them to do. I mean, I'm not like holding my breath, I can't wait till the next episode type thing. I kind of am like, yeah, whatever. I still enjoy it, but I'm not like, I can't wait till next week. I'm just like, meh, whatever. I mean, it's Game of Thrones. You just assume everyone's going to die. So maybe that's part of the problem, is that I've already accepted all my favorite characters probably won't make it till the end. Don't worry, I'm not giving spoilers because I don't actually have any idea. I'm not Nick. Nick's not here. It's not fun to give him a hard time for giving spoilers when he's not here tonight. But, yeah, I don't know. Jack said, if you do colored pencils over watercolor, do you think the OMS would lift the watercolor? A little. It won't lift it as much as water will, but it will lift a little bit. Not much. I mean, if you're covering it all the way with colored pencil, then the watercolor, even if it lifted, wouldn't really matter. But for those areas, I wouldn't just be spreading OMS over areas that were just going to be colored pencil. But I would definitely be more careful. But with OMS, it doesn't lift quite the same that water would at all. It does lift a little, but not much. Margine said, do you think gouache would work on Yupo as well as any watercolor? Maybe a little bit better. I think I might have a little bit of an easier time controlling it, but Yupo's interesting, but not my favorite for watercolor. Yupo, the only thing I really like Yupo for is my Winsor & Newton pigment markers, which I really need to use again soon. The perfect surface for those, but I don't like it for watercolor at all. It was cool. It was fun to play with. Actually, I played with that in a Smart Art Box. It was fun to play with, but definitely would not be one I'd run out and purchase for watercolor because it didn't work for how I like to work. That's why all my Yupo paper is for my Winsor & Newton pigment markers now. Scrappy Cat Meyer said, have you ever applied watercolor grounds to a surface to add more tooth to said surface that you can use pan pastels or colored pencil? I have not. I have not tried that at all. Crystal said, the Daniel Smith introductory color set is only about $30 on Amazon, and those are on one of the best watercolor paints out there. Oh, well, there you go. So Crystal just answered. I forget who had asked the question about a decently priced, watercolor. There you go. Thanks for the advice, Crystal. you probably just helped someone out a whole lot. Let's see. What type of palette do you need for gouache? Same thing you would use for watercolor, or this one's just a plastic one from Acrylics. But I like the porcelain ones, just because I like the porcelain ones. But this plastic one is working fine. Let's see. Flower Farm Artist said magenta with the orange. Always use magenta with orange. I love those colors together. Darwin said, if you are interested, Andrew's wife made some great works with egg tempera. Okay, I will have to look that up. That was definitely not the person who I looked up before when I had seen that. Emily said, will you post the finished product on Instagram so we can see the grain? I don't think I want this on my Instagram. This is just not, maybe I'll post it in the art group. I'll post over there so you can see. This is definitely not the quality work that I want on Instagram at all. It's more of it actually now looks, yeah, it's yellowy green. But no, I'll put it in the art group maybe. But like I said, this is when I'm just experimenting. I don't expect this to be like my best work. I'm not used to working in gouache. I just want to play with it, get an idea of how it works, and then do something more serious with it. I am really liking these. I could see myself wanting to use gouache again, just not on the surface. But, and this surface, like I said, it's making it to where I really don't want to put much detail into, or, effort. So, bad attitude here. But it's meh. It's okay. I'm just going to line some of these before I go on with the black. Just add a little bit more detail with the red right along the purple lines. That actually added a pretty look to it. Let's see. Cavium said, did an art haul, got beginner's acrylic book with 50 small projects, hopefully to get me in the mood to paint again. More paint, 2 mop brushes, and other stuff. Nice! I hope that does get you in the mood to paint again. New Art Supplies always does that for me. Thanks, Xerxes. Cassie said, I don't know why you're hating the picture you're working on. I think it looks really pretty. The butterfly looks nice. Well, thank you. You're seeing a blurrier version of what I'm seeing. Why is that so blurry? I don't really know. Yeah. No, let's see. Anne said, I think it'll be gift worthy once it's done. Maybe to a family member I'm not a fan of. Oh, I can think of one already. That's mean. I shouldn't say things like that publicly. Diane said, you work in so many mediums and subjects. Do you happen to have a favorite you find you keep going back to? Love your work and live streams. I'd say my top 2 are colored pencil and acrylics. Acrylics would be my top favorite because I can do just about anything with acrylics that I can in any other medium, but I can do it way faster in acrylics. So acrylics are definitely my top, and I would say colored pencil probably after that. Why is this not letting me unlock? There we go. I'm having technical difficulties with all the things tonight. And the really frustrating part is knowing it's not a problem with the device, but me, that I'm just not doing things right. Pablo said, Joseph pointed out, my question was not clear. You can easily stream the same thing on Twitch and YouTube at the same time, in case that makes a difference. But my thing is, why would I want to? Then there may be a reason. You may have a very good reason on why I would want to. I'm just not sure what it is yet. Because I don't know what it is, it seems like extra work for me to set both of those up. And, I mean, do people just hate YouTube? Or what is are there people who wouldn't have watched if it was here? I don't know. I don't know how any of that works. So I still need more reasons on why I would want to put the extra, because that would be extra work for me to set up both streams. So, and then it would probably be a bit heavier, or more work on the computer. So I need more reasons. Stephanie said, who are your favorite Game of Thrones characters? Tyrion Lannister, for sure. And Ghost are my favorites. Oh, Arya. She's been my favorite for, like, the beginning. Like, she's one of the most interesting, I think. I really like her whole, like, story and everything's just really cool. And, of course, she then got even more cool, but I already liked her before that one episode. Anyway, I don't want to give any, like, spoilers out, so... Sunshine said, start painting on the paper. You could show us the difference between it and canvas. You know, I might. Let me kind of finish this up and I'll show you the difference. I won't be able to finish something on paper, but I can show you the difference because I do have it sitting over here. So let's just kind of quickly go through and just sketch some of this out so it's mostly done. But I think that would be cool to show the difference of. And I'll just kind of do about the same thing. So at least for the background, you can see. Let's rush through that. The brushes they gave in this set were really good. I actually really like this whole set, except the canvas. I'm just not really understanding why they chose this. Oh, that's brush strokes too long, too big. Oops. I could fix it. I just don't care enough to. Okay, a little bit more on this. Trying to go through this quickly so I can at least have it mostly finished, and then we'll try the other paper. Boz said, I started a YouTube channel, but I'm still taking commissions. How do you feel about filming a commission on a YouTube channel? All of my commissions are on my YouTube. I mean, anything from 2012 forward, everything was on YouTube. So anyone who hires me knows it is going to be a video. And if they don't like that, then I am not the person to hire. I won't do anything that I don't record. I don't have time to do two separate things. But no one has had a problem. Everyone that I've done commissions for loved the fact that they were able to see the video. I think that's why some of them hired me. So it's not been a problem for me. But I mean, I would still let the person know that I was going to do that. And if they didn't like it, I just wouldn't take the commission. But nobody ever asked me not to. Oh, I need more magenta. Blue Tea Art said, is having a limited palette better or worse for beginners? I would say it's better. A limited palette forces you to learn how to blend. So that's definitely a good thing for a beginner. One of the things that seems to slow down beginners a lot is that they and I know this because they ask me all the time, I need to know the colors. No, you don't need to know the colors. You need to know the values. You need to pay attention to your values, not the colors. But because they get hung up on that, it slows them down a lot. Like they don't progress as fast as they could. That is not what I want. I'm starting that color over. I just made a mess of, that's not what I want. But because they get so worked up over what color something needs to be, and they don't focus on the values as needed. So, and then they don't learn to blend either. If you've got somebody who's constantly holding your hand and saying, now use this color, now use that color, you don't really learn to choose your own colors. So oh, that is too wet. God, I'm not happy with this canvas at all. This is to the point where it's starting to frustrate me because I know how this medium should work on a better, anyway, stop complaining, Lisa. So the limited color palette, though, I think helps get people to learn a lot easier than they otherwise would if they had a million colors to work from. It's too easy when you've got a lot of colors, like especially with colored pencil. I think it's so easy to just grab the green that you need and not learn, well, what colors go into making that green. I know that this is a yellowish green when I look at it, where someone else would just look at it and go, it's green. I know it's a yellowish green because I know if I mix that color from basic blue and yellow, that I mostly need to use yellow. And I think that helps you to understand your colors better. Learn to blend, learn to mix from a smaller color palette, and you're going to learn a lot more. You're going to learn a lot faster, and you're going to learn how to control all of those colors a lot better. Now, realistically, I could spend another 2 hours and make this look good. I'm not going to because, well, I've already verbalized that enough, I think. So we'll go ahead and play a little bit on paper. I'm not going to finish the one on paper either because we were already pretty far into this. Let's pull a little bit of purple and magenta for this. I mean, it's technically a painting. It's not a good painting, but it is a painting. Okay. So, and see, the fact that I have my watercolor paper sitting right here next to me shows you I went into this with knowing I wasn't going to take it super seriously. So, definitely a bad attitude for me moment. Okay, so this one is that I'm going to be using is Strathmore Vision Watercolor. This is a cold press watercolor paper. But even though it's cold press, it's not super, super rough. It feels, I don't know, usually cold press to me when I've seen it is a bit more rough. So let's go ahead and I guess I just work straight on the paper towel. This is not the ideal setup. I would normally tape this down or stretch it or do something. So this paper is going to warp like crazy, working like I am. Actually, you know it'll work better. Let's stick this on that. We'll use this canvas for something. Let's see. I should go this way so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Let's see. Flower Farm said, it does look really bad off camera because I think that's beautiful. I'll take it if you don't want it. That requires me to ship things. One of the big reasons I don't push my originals for sale, I mean, they're for sale, but I don't push them as hard as I should is because I don't have time to ship stuff. I never, like, I have stuff that I was supposed to send to my friend in, where is she, Virginia, like a year ago, and it's still sitting here. No, longer than that. Yeah, I've got some stuff that I'm really bad about that. So I would agree to, except for the part that I know myself well enough to know I'm not shipping things. I'm really bad. Let's go ahead and sketch this out. Let me grab a graphite pencil. I'll do the same thing. So I'm just going to loosely put in approximately where I want these flowers to be. They don't need to be exact. His little butterfly body. I want the wing, and mostly I'm just kind of mapping out how far down I want things like his wing to be, or I'm not like worrying about details and such. That I can freehand in as I start to go. And I'm calling it good enough. Okay. So, yeah, I don't think you can even see those pencil lines on there. Sorry, I'm scrolling right now to try to find where we left off. Joseph said, ghost or ghost? Go no hugs or pets. Poor ghost. What? I don't know what you're saying, Joseph. Tisha said, have you experimented with using a medium like watercolors as a base before or want light fast colored pencils? I'm new to colored pencils and I've heard it's a good time saver. You absolutely can. You want to make sure, especially with colored pencils, try to find ones that are going to be light fast. That is a big deal because your pencils, especially if you're using like Derwent light fast pencils or one of the pencils that are more expensive and very light fast, you do want to make sure that you are using or watercolor that would also be light fast. But no, it is a great way to go mixed media. They work so well together. Come on, open up. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to wet the paper. This is going to be a mess because it is going to warp since I'm not taping it down, but I'm not really set up for this one tonight. So the reason that I'm getting the paper wet first is it's going to allow the gouache to just spread out and give me that watercolor type look that I want on this. And I've got a pink tint to the water, so that actually works out well. You can kind of see, well, hopefully if it's showing up, you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Let's see. Paige said, I really want you to use Faber-Castell watercolor pencils. I will be, for sure. Nina said, well, I left for a few minutes and came back to this epic butterfly. Wow, thank you. Sandra said, have you ever applied watercolor grounds to a surface to add more? I think I already answered that one. No, I have not. Steve said, have you ever tried Caran d'Ache Pablo? If so, did they seem not very pigmented? I got them today and I'm a bit underwhelmed. I'm not a huge fan of the Pablos at all, except on sanded paper, like when I'm blending with powder blender or for detail over pan pastels. Then I actually really like them pretty well, like a lot for the final details on the tooth. But other than that, I really don't know why. Like I did not see the reason why so many people seem to like them as much. I wasn't a huge, like, I just didn't see it. Wasn't my preference, that's for sure. But I do like them for those final details. So I still want to get them, but I wouldn't, like when I blend with OMS, I just wasn't a huge fan of the results that I got. And so what's happening here, this starts to soak into the paper a bit. So it's not just pulling up, and it gives me a little bit more control. Like I can let it be really light by letting it just the white of the paper show through. And while yes, it's opaque, the white of the paper still shows through a little bit. Just like with acrylics, you thin it out enough, and even an opaque color is going to be fairly translucent. So here's with the purple, where I wanted it to be light by adding water, and I just made a mess on the canvas. There we go. We'll dry some of that off. See how I can get this really light purple that I was not getting without adding actual white paint or gouache on the canvas. But on paper, I can get this look that was coming out really pixelated looking. Like it just looked absolutely terrible on the canvas using that technique. So in order to use the canvas, I would have to adjust my technique a lot to make it work. So like I said, it can be done because I know I'm going to have someone go, I made it work just fine. Yeah, you can. It's just not my preference. It just comes down to personal preference. And canvas, if I'm going to use canvas, I want it to be a watercolor canvas for watercolor or gouache. Like this is way easier to me to control, like by a lot. As far as like what's light and what's dark, I mean. I don't like to have to add white to lighten the color with this medium. I would way rather let the white of the paper work for me. This is warping so bad. Oh yeah, we had some blue in there. Let's throw some of that too. But see how I'm just going to thin it out. I don't even have to mix water with it. Just thin it out, or I mean white with it. I'm just going to thin it with water. And this is a more pure color. It's giving me what I want. I couldn't get it to do that on the canvas quite the same. Maybe someone more experienced with the medium would be able to, but it's like, I don't want to fight with the material to get it to do what I just did, what I wanted it to. I'm going to blend. I'm going to add a little bit of water. It's going to muddy my colors a bit, but it'll let them blend together a bit more. Let's add a little white up here. I'll make a light purple so it's kind of like the other one you can see. The other one had purple in that area. So we'll do the same on this guy. And then a little bit of water. Just clean my brush doesn't have anything on it but water right now, just to smudge that out. And that is what I'm going to do for that background. That really needs to dry. Then it's going to be a bumpy mess when it dries. But the results that I get here, this is what I'm looking for when I work with watercolor or even ink tints. I would not use this canvas for ink tints either. Can it be done? Absolutely. Should it be? I don't know. I'm going to go with no. Diane said, I had the impression you didn't do commissions anymore. Not really. No, I don't. I have a couple of people, and I need to email some people back that have emailed me that have ordered something from me in the past. And so I'm working with them, but normally, no, I don't. Oops, that just scrolled way too far. Oh, thanks, Mike. Is this Mike Tompkins? That's my actual friend with the corgi. Just gave me $1.99 and said tacos. And I am now, there we go. Brent said, my 9-year-old wants this painting. Paint it for her. Paige or him. Paige said, how can you get your prints as home decor? I think I'm going to get the sea turtle as a shower cabinet shower curtain or blanket. It's through Fine Art America. If you just go to my website, it's all ordered from, it's on my website, but it's Fine Art America is who prints it, and they should be there. If not, if I don't have the sea turtle you want, just message me. If it's not available on those items, I can make it that way. Because some of the older ones, those items weren't available back when I uploaded them, so it didn't like automatically make certain prints available for certain other print. I don't know. Just message me if you can't find what you want. I'll get it for you. Except for the sea turtle that's on Inktense. That I can't. But the other sea turtle, the colored pencil one is. Joseph said, got not go. Jon Snow walked around. Okay, I'm reading this because I don't want to read it out loud in case you gave spoilers. You spent too much time with Nick. I don't know. I don't trust anyone anymore. It said, Jon Snow walked around giving everyone hugs, but Ghost just sat there alone. No hugs, no pets. Poor Ghost. Yeah, I thought that was weird too. You're not the only one. I was talking to Lena about that, and she was saying the same. Like, we both, yeah, same thing. It was very weird. Not a good pet owner. Nikiska said, please do another Inktense live stream. I bought both full sets with your art on it, so I'm kind of obsessed right now. That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely need to do Inktense again. That's one of my favorites to work on, so that will be happening soon for sure. So the big difference that you're seeing here, like this blue is very similar to that blue, but I got it not by adding white, but just letting the white of the paper, you know, just thinning out the paint and letting it soak through. Now, one negative I could say with watercolor paper, because this is not stretched or taped down, is that it's going to warp. You don't have to worry about that with a canvas. So I guess that's one thing that might be better or worse. And again, this is looking so yellow for you guys, and it's not to me. Rachel said, where can I find the light fast ratings for acrylics, colored pencils, etc.? I've been trying to find a site that explains all the differences between the scales. Well, it's either going to be ASTM or it's going to be by Blue Wool scale. And then I do, if you go to my website on my old, if you look up, gosh, which one did I put that on? I think it was the Luminance versus Prismacolor. I have a chart that shows you the difference, how Blue Wool and ASTM compare to each other. Like a 1 on Blue Wool or a 1 on ASTM is equivalent to an 8 on Blue Wool. It breaks down. It has a chart for that. If you can find that on my website, hopefully you can, that will help. But as far as each individual brand should be marked on it. If it is not marked, if you buy a tube of paint and it does not have light fast rating, just assume it's not light fast. They didn't test. If a company tests, it's expensive. If they test, they're going to be bragging about those results. They're going to let you know what those are. So like Marco Refine and Marco Renoir, whatever colored pencils, they don't test. There's no, they claim on the package that it's light fast, but it's not. They didn't test. I talked to them. They didn't test. They can't claim. They're like, excellent light resistance. You didn't test them. You're making a claim like without testing anything. You can't, that drives me crazy when companies do that. But anyway, the actual packaging of many products, like the Liquitex Basics, for example, Liquitex products, they'll tell you what number that is. And then you have to, of course, look up what that means if you don't know what the light fast ratings are. But the one on my website should help you out. I know it's on the site. I'm trying to think what post it's on. I'm not sure how to make that easy for you to find. I think it was the Caran d'Ache versus, if you just look up light fast or light fast ratings, I think you should, on the search engine on my site, it should pull up that way. It's on colored pencil, but it's the same. Like it's everything's rated by either Blue Wool or ASTM. See how when I did this, I don't get that grainy, gritty, like it looks like a bad acrylic painting. I get that more watercolor feel. Well, that one did, that I'm going for. Gail wants to know if there are any light fast Prismacolor pencils at all. Yes, there are. I want to say it's like a third to 50%. It's somewhere in between there that are not light fast, but that means the other ones are. So yes, there are light fast colored Prismas. It's on their website. Tasia said, what would happen if I don't use light fast products? They will fade over time. So like something right now, like this purple will probably end up being almost a pale pink. A magenta would kind of the same thing. It almost turns to white. It depends on the color, what it shifts to, but it loses its color. Jen said, I'm looking for an artist grade palette of 36 or 48 rich, bright watercolors. Would like Schmeek, I don't know how to say it, but I don't want to invest $200 for a travel palette. Do you have any recommendations? For watercolor, no, I'm not really, I mean, I've been playing with the watercolor pencils, but as far as watercolor, not my field of expertise. I'm probably newer than you are to playing with watercolors. So, I mean, it had been years since I used them. And back then, I don't even remember what brand I was using. It's probably Crayola. I don't know. But no, I don't. Check Lena Daniel, though. I know she does watercolor paintings, and she can give you more information. And she's here on YouTube. Tisha said, just finished watching episode 3 on Sunday, so we're a week behind, and my husband had the thing spoiled for him. Oh, no. Is he friends with... See, I keep wanting to give crap to Nick Edgar, one of our moderators, but he's not here tonight. It's not fun to give someone a hard time when they're not here. Oops. Okay, so let's go back to the butterfly. Let's throw some yellow on there. Get a bit more water. Some orange. Oops, that's going to be thick. Thin that out. Ooh, too thick still. So that brush stroke that I just made is like so typical gouache. See how opaque that orange is? That's beautiful. I really do like gouache. I am going to have to, if any of you use gouache, and you have a favorite brand, let me know who you think I should invest in. Because I do like this medium. I need to get more watercolors too. Like watercolors, not just pencils. It's so funny, for so many years, I was like, no, I don't use watercolor. I'm terrible at them. And then I got used to ink tints. So when I tried watercolor pencils, I was like, wow, these aren't as hard as I remembered them being. They're actually kind of fun. See, in this one, I could easily go over with my pencils on the paper. It'll stick really well. Not tonight because it's going to be wet. This is not drying anytime soon without a hairdryer. But it could be done. Let's pull some more yellow. I'm going to get some white in there because I went a bit dark. Elaine said, I'm reading about branding. It's a little confusing. Have you branded yourself? Not sure if that's the worded that question right. Yeah, I mean, we're all branded. I mean, I am my brand. So my personality is my brand. How I present myself is my brand. My logo, I mean, you don't have to have a logo as an artist. That was an accident, my goldfish that I use. But that is my brand. Like, these are your things that are your brand. My color scheme are, for years now, has been with the teals and lime green. That is also a part, mostly teal, my brand. Like, those things all count as your brand. What type of information, I mean, are you... The fact that, like, my email newsletters have tips or some kind of motivation for you, that would be considered a part of, like, all of this is a part of my brand. The type of, like, that I'm giving out information to help other artists. That's what my brand is. So I am my brand. That is, like, does that make, it's weird. It's kind of like trying to explain the most random thing to somebody. You are your brand, essentially. How you present yourself online is your brand. So you want to be careful of that. Like, I watch people... And they think their personal Facebook page is personal. It's not. People see everything. And it's funny because they talk about, well, it's my page. I can say what I want. Yeah, but the fact that I'm on it and I don't really know you, you added me as a friend, means you are publicly saying things you probably shouldn't be saying. You've got to watch, because everything you do online is a part of your brand. You know, that's your image, which is your brand. I guess that would be a way to word it. Your image is your brand. See how nice and smooth that line was? That line is way too curved, but whatever. That is not what happened on a watercolor canvas, because that was too, not watercolor canvas, that canvas that was too rough. That was so much better. Like, this is so much more enjoyable to me working on watercolor paper, even though it's all warped. Like, some people, their brand is being obnoxious. Like, they do it on purpose. They're rude to people. They're loud. That's their brand. That's who they present themselves as, whether that's how they are in person or not, I don't know. But I mean, that would count as a brand. Not my preference for a brand, but you know, it counts. But yes, for marketing, branding yourself and kind of just establishing your personality and all of that is very important. Oops. Sarum said Holbein Artist Gouache is wonderful. I will look into those. I know I like their airbrush paints. Steve said Schmink. Am I saying that right? Schmink Hordem Gouache is incredible. Okay, you guys, battle it out. Which one's better? Why did you choose what you chose? Port says, sorry, forgot to tag you. Invest in Schmink. Schmink? I don't know if I'm saying that right. So there's another for that brand. I mean, I guess I can just let you guys fight it out. We should just put a poll and I'll buy the one that the more of you vote for. Maybe we'll have to do that in the art group. Nakiska said, it's okay if you can't answer. I'm curious, did you get your royalty for the Inktense tins sold with your art, or do you get a flat rate? I know a lot of tins have sold because of your art. I just got a flat rate. Honestly, in that case, I mean, don't tell Derwent this, but I probably would have done it for free because I was so excited to have my work on their tins. Like, I love the Derwent company. I love their customer service. I love most of their products. I was so excited. I love Inktense to be a part of that they paid me well. They paid me a flat fee. And yeah, that was, for me, honestly, good enough. I was very happy with the deal. Mainly because the art was on it. Like, there was one design that they thought they wanted a beta, but they just didn't really work. And I wasn't thrilled with the beta that I had done at all. I'm like, please let me do something else. Like, I know I can do better than this. The problem was I didn't have a good reference photo for a beta that was royalty free. Now I could. I've got one. I can actually get good photos, but back then I didn't. And I just wasn't happy with the artwork that I created. And so they came back and were like, this isn't really working. And it was their idea. They're the ones who wanted the beta. I tried talking into other fish and stuff, other types. And they came back and said, what about, I think, was it the dolphin? Because it was for the tins. So it was the dolphin they ended up going with, or asking if I would do that instead. They wanted something ocean related to go with the sea turtle because they really liked how that one, it worked well for marketing. But when they tried the beta and they put the pencils on the tin, so it was like covering part of it, it looked weird. Like, it just didn't work with their design. So they asked if I would do the other, and they offered to pay me the same price for the redo. And I was like, no, you guys don't need to pay me. I was just so excited to do it. And I was so excited that they didn't use the beta because I was not proud of it. It was one of those, like, I can do better. Please go with a different design. It was the design they thought they wanted until they saw it. I was like, I think with a better reference photo, I could have made it work. I just didn't have one, and I couldn't find one anywhere that I was allowed to use, or, that was royalty free. So, yeah, I definitely was willing to do that for next to nothing. This is so much more fun to work on. My gosh. It's because it's painting and going smooth the way gouache is. I don't even know why you would choose to use that type of a canvas for gouache, because it doesn't do, like, my favorite parts about gouache and watercolor are just these little details and these smooth lines. That's not happening on a bumpy canvas. Like that, it's making you fight against the material instead of having it do the thing that you want it to. Like, the thing that makes gouache so amazing is not happening on the canvas. That is happening here. It's a much more enjoyable process for sure. Let's see. Jen said, I use the Shinhan Pass Hybrid. They are a blend of gouache and watercolor, but they are tube-based and don't dry down well in a palette. Don't dry down well. I'm not sure what that means. Kyle said, you would never say anything you should publicly or otherwise. Susan said, I read an article on the lack of love to Ghost was because of the CG. They wanted to keep it as simple as possible. Just FYI. That makes sense, because that was a daytime scene. That would be hard to make look good. Yeah, I definitely get that. Most of where Ghost is, most of it's filmed in the dark, so that makes total sense. I mean, still rude, but total sense. Just said, you might like your canvas if you primed it with watercolor ground. Maybe, you might be right. Daniel Smith and Golden both make good watercolor grounds. Or I could just use watercolor paper and be happy from the beginning. I don't know. I like that idea the best. But no, you may be right. I think I still like paper better. It's pronounced schmink. Schmink. That's not helping at all. Whoops, that's scrolling too far. The Cove said, I would love to see your dog. They're on they're in another room right now. I posted, well, I know I have them on Facebook. I haven't posted them on Instagram in a while. Yeah, I haven't. They used to be in the ending of most of my videos, and they've gotten older and don't hear so well, and it's harder to get them to do the fun little tricks that I used to do at the end of videos, so now I just use chicken. But they're on those. I have 2 Italian Greyhounds. My little old ladies. See these lines? Like, it's so smooth on watercolor paper versus that darn canvas. So much more enjoyable. I think the canvas, though, would probably be more forgiving. Like if I wanted to undo something that I messed up, like where I made the really thick line on the antenna, I think that would be super easy to fix on the canvas compared to the paper. It could be fixed either way, especially with an opaque paint. It's fairly forgiving, but I think that would be one bonus of the canvas. It'd be easier to wipe stuff off. Noelle said, just so you know, Schminka. Yeah, I'm not going to remember that. Crystal said, I'm 35 and I really want to learn oil paint and to draw. Do I realistically have time to learn to actually make a living? Could you give me some opinions? You're such an inspiration to me. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. There are plenty of people who never pick up a paintbrush until they're retired and end up becoming professional artists and making a living that way. That you absolutely, yeah, 35 is not very old. That will not be a problem for you. You just have to actually do it. But no, you've got plenty. It doesn't take that long to learn how to paint. I mean, give yourself a few years and your stuff should be pretty awesome. But yes, realistically, do it. Paige said, I would feel disappointed just getting the 12 set of Derwent, or would I feel disappointed just getting the 12 set of Derwent drawing pencils? I mean, the Derwent drawing, it's only, what is it, 24 set? Yes, because trust me, once you use them, you're going to wish you got the whole set because it's not a big set anyway. I would definitely say get the full set. I mean, at least you want black and white. Those are the two that I go through the most with the Derwent drawing, especially the white. I had to have a lot of extras of those, but yes, you will be disappointed in just the 12. I mean, get what you can afford, but I would say save up a little bit more and get the full set. They really are good pencils. Like I use them a lot for blending backgrounds because they blend, so much pigment goes on quickly and they blend so well. How much time do I have? Oh, I've got a half an hour. I still do need to hurry this up though if I want to finish this one by the time it's done. I mean, I'm just kind of half doing this. It's not going to be a super serious detailed piece, but certainly coming out or working better for me than the other. So this is why I went with the purple versus the black first. That way I can go on top with the black. Being that it's darker than the purple, just go right over it and get those nice shadows. And then let the purple show through here and there. Last time I put the white first and then the black, so this time I think it will be better to do the black first. Sam said, for my gouache paintings, I use the same watercolor blocks that you use, Arches Artistico. Oh, cool. Yeah, Arches is my favorite. That's definitely. And if I had used that, I wouldn't be worried. I mean, this wouldn't really be warping quite the same. In this case, for this project, I'm not using the super expensive paper for that. And I know I'm not going to finish, like, I'm not going to spend hours making this look great. So I didn't want to waste my good paper. But yeah, Arches is my absolute, I love their block. I think you guys were the ones who convinced me, kept telling me to use that, and you were right. I just need to learn to listen to everything you guys suggest. I feel like I have so much more control with this paper. Paige said you should see me trying to find reference photos for sea life. My worst fear are sharks, and my favorite animal is a sea turtle. I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack always. Sea life photos are one of the hardest to find. That's why if you've not already signed up, Tidal Gardens, I don't have the link in the description here, but if you go to Tidal Gardens or just like patreon.com/Tidal Gardens, they're a coral seller here in the US, and I talked to them about their photos are amazing. They weren't selling them or using them as reference photos. When I told them, I'm like, artists would love them. I know I would love them. You can't even coral. Just finding good photos is just so hard. So at least that gives us our coral, but they have their Patreon page now that is allowing us to use if you're a member, you get it's like $50 a month reference photos of different corals. Now we need to find someone who takes sea turtle photos to work with. Cause yeah, trying to find any wildlife or any marine life is a real challenge. At least we got the coral thing now. Oops, I need a bit more water. Getting that dry brush look that I don't like. There we go. It's so funny what a difference the surface that you work on can make and how much you enjoy a medium. And it's the same with like colored pencil. If you use the wrong surface, you're not going to like the pencils. Like using a hot press watercolor paper or something that's too thick, you're just not going to get the results that you want. Just switching the paper. These paints, I'm liking them so much better now. So much easier to control. Some highlights through here. I find that the paint doesn't tend to lift as much on this at all too, which is good because it was lifting more than I would typically like with the watercolor, at least for my taste on the canvas board. Whoops. Camila said, my mom never thought of art until 49 and became an incredibly successful artist. See? One more example. Clarence said, Grandma Moses came to mind as a late blooming artist. She was in her late 70s when she began to paint professionally. Andy said, how's the gouache working out for you? What makes it different from acrylics? It's watercolor. I mean, it's just opaque watercolor. So it lifts. Acrylics won't lift where this will. So I would say it's closer to ink tints than acrylics. But even then, ink tints isn't going to lift at all either. So it's just opaque watercolor. For me, the worst thing about gouache is spelling it. I have to look it up every single time. I cannot spell that right. That's, I think, the biggest negative with this medium. Every time I write it, I have to look it up. Oh, that's a hot mess. We've got... Ursi says, beautiful gouache painting on paper surface. Thanks. Yeah, I like the paper way better. Rachel said, you just made my night with the coral reference photo info. Oh my gosh, you are going to have so much fun. And they upload a new photo like I think they upload 2 a day. They're freaking incredible. And one of the things that I'm liking so much, and once the new computer comes, I can do a demonstration on this for you guys, but they use a black background for everything. And it is so easy to Photoshop that out. So like when I'm making a coral reef painting now, I can just Photoshop out the black. It's just one button to remove the black and stick it all over wherever I want to get it all positioned perfectly. Like it is, I'm so excited about those photos. So excited. Carlene said, how about the light fastness? On these, there's no light fast ratings at all. Yeah, not even there. So it's you can pretty much assume they're not light fast. Some companies don't, like Prismacolor, some of their colors are light fast and they don't say on their pencils, but you have to go to their website to find out which ones. And it could be the case with these, unlikely. Usually, most paints that I use say on it what is light fast. I would have to look it up to know for sure. Kyle said George Dubia found art late and he's okay. Let's see. Joseph has problems spelling gouache too. Good, that makes me feel better. Steve said Schminka tends to have more soft luminance and natural paints compared to other brands like Daniel Smith or Graham, who have very vibrant and bold paints. Oh, I don't know which I'd prefer. Portgree said, remember how to spell it. Just make sure the word is ache. The word ache is in it. Oh, yeah. Oh, that might help. Thank you. That might help me remember. Maybe, maybe not. I have a very bad memory. But if anything was going to, that's a good tip. So what I have to do is make sure, because this can lift, as I go over an area where I'm layering. So you can layer with them, but you don't want to like keep blending and blending and blending or it'll start to lift. I think this would be cool with outlining everything, like getting kind of an illustrative look with a black pen. Almost, do I have time? If that dries, I don't know if it'll dry in time. I've got to have some, or a black colored pencil would work. Oh, I should finish the butterfly, huh? I am missing like big chunks of black paint, or well, it should be purple. Yeah, and I'm whatever. It's quick. This is the type of thing that I like doing in a sketchbook, where it's just like super quick little, like not a bunch of time went into it, just a fun little drawing. And this would definitely be a medium I would like for sketchbooking. This is not the brush for that. That is bending. Jesse says, I need a good reference for an elephant drawing. Any ideas? Well, if you're on Patreon, I typically, well, this month didn't, I don't think I had elephants this month. So sometimes me, sometimes, oh, Cal said W like George W. Bush. Was he good? I don't think he was very good. I don't remember now. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else then. I need a good reference. Oh, the elephant. I got that one. Have I ever seen the movie Loving Vincent? Is it amazing how they put it all together in Vincent Van Gogh painting style? I have not. I tried to watch one Vincent Van Gogh movie and it was so annoying. I think it was supposed to be him narrating it. It was painful. I made it through like 15 minutes. I was like, yeah, I can't do this. This is really bad. I hate when movies like that try to tell you what the artist was feeling with it. I don't know. It was just kind of weird. Like, oh, you were reaching for meaning that I doubt was meaning in that. Take some red, add a little bit of detail in there. Yeah, this is really making me want, well, it makes me want to play with Inktense, but it makes me want to do something more like detailed. I could even use it with these paints in the future, like something that I planned out and wasn't just slopping paint on. This project for me is just about getting a feel for the paint, playing with it. I haven't played with it in years, so just kind of remembering what I liked about it. And I never, any watercolor, gouache or regular watercolor, I had just never put much effort into learning to do well. But now I definitely think it's more fun and I'm more interested in it. So the next time I use this medium, I definitely want to take the time to really just make it look a bit better. Like have all of my brush strokes actually be intentional instead of just slopping them down randomly. Let's see. Get some shading in here. I really do like this part about gouache. The Inktense is the same, where it's dried on the palette. You just reactivate it by adding more water. So I don't have to remix stuff. I just get water for whatever. Like if I had made a color, I can reuse that however many times I need to. Let's see. Oh, for your elephant reference photo, you can also look at wildlifereferencephotos.com. They'll have a lot of good ones. Crystal said, would you or anyone have suggestions for where to begin learning to draw and oil paint? I know I want to try Matt Carter's oil painting method. And well, I would contact them if you have, like, if you have a method that you want to try, I would contact them. Like, I don't know where, as far as beginning to learn, just pick up your paints and start. But if there's a method that you want, then you want to contact them. And I've had people do that. I don't think that's what you were doing necessarily, but I've had people where they're like, I had one person email me this long email. They had a very specific, somebody on YouTube, they wanted to learn to paint like them. Why are you asking me? Go to that YouTuber if that's the style you want. It was kind of funny. But no, go out, you know, if there's a style that you're interested in, then go and look for books by them, look for video, if they've got videos, those are the people you want to learn from then. If you have like a specific, this is what I want my work to look like, that's great. That is a good start. You know what you're going for, then you need to go find those books and those videos. And I think you'll learn a lot better that way because it's going to be very specific, you know, a lot different than how I would teach or how I do. So definitely go look those up. Lisa said, schminke, whatever, has an ox scale in it, which is from animals, which makes the paint flow. Most paints don't have it already in the paint. They have it as a medium. Oh, interesting. I wonder, does that mean I would like it better or less? I don't know. Noelle said, oh wait, no, this one. Jessie said, I'm on your Patreon and I always read your zombie virus description. Good. You are protected from the zombie virus. You are safe when that comes. And if you are on Patreon and you've missed some of my older elephants, just email me. I'll see if I've got any for you. Noelle said, I like using gouache on cotton watercolor paper like Arches. I didn't quite catch what you were using now, but I prefer it over cheaper watercolor papers. Oh yeah, this is a cheap watercolor paper. This is definitely cheap. Arches would be better, but I'm not wasting Arches on me making a scribbly mess tonight. That I use on like stuff that I'm putting more effort into, I guess. But yeah, no, Arches is I definitely see where that would be amazing. Carlene said, I would like to see you do a beginner guide for oil painting. I have one. Well, sort of. I need to do another one. I have one that would work. It's a rose. And I have how to glaze in oils, like an apple project, a green apple. That would be a good beginner project. But I want to do another one. That was actually something my husband and I were talking about last night. I need to start doing more. Graphic's going to be my next one, like beginner, like everything. This is what this is. These are what the numbers mean. These are what, you know, all of the things, like a full on for beginners type thing, and then a project with it, a simple project. Yeah, I think another oil painting one is a good idea. And I want to do a few more I already have one for acrylic, but it's not a bad idea to do a few more beginner projects. I don't want to turn my channel into all beginner projects, but a few here and there, I think I definitely want to do more of. So yes, another oil painting for sure. If I would get the new computer, or if it would finally ship and then I can start editing again. Ursi said, maybe you should do a printed calendar of these gouache paintings or butterflies. That would be great. Yeah, no, not with these. Maybe in the future when I do something really good with this medium, then yes. Okay. This is, I don't really need to do much more on this. You get the point. It's messy. but you get the point of how this medium works. You know, if you would like to sign up for Smart Art Box, there's a link in the video description with a coupon code that'll give you $5 off your subscription for life. And they send you something different each month. Sometimes you get things like this where I was like, I like the gouache. I'm glad I have it. I don't understand the canvas board with this project. It works. I mean, I'm able to paint on it, but it's not nearly as enjoyable as watercolor paper. But then again, if you are a subscriber to their Smart Art Boxes, you probably have so many pads of watercolor paper that maybe that is why you don't need another pad of it. I've got tons of watercolor paper or pads of watercolor paper from Smart Art Box. So maybe that's what they were thinking. Like, we gave out too much paper lately. Let's try something different. But yeah, so that's the only thing I can think of as to why they might have gone with the canvas board over. I don't know. I didn't talk to them, but if you're trying gouache, definitely recommend try a decent watercolor. This one is it's cold press, but it feels like hot press. I wouldn't consider, this one is the Vision. It's just a cheapy one from, I don't know if I got this one in a Smart Art Box or if I bought this one. I don't remember. There's no price on it, so there's a good chance I got it in a Smart Art Box. But it's 140 pounds. It says cold press. I'd call it more hot press, which I prefer. Like, it's a nice kind of in between what I would typically consider one or the other, as far as the actual texture of it. But that one I definitely liked a lot better than the canvas. The canvas is going in the trash. That's not staying here. Not for gouache, not my preference. Watercolor, way more enjoyable. So if you did get this set, and the cool thing is you've got so much paint, like this paint is going to last me a long time. So it's perfect for me for sketchbooks, because with sketchbooks, I don't care if it's light fast. That's not something I'm selling. So that's what I will likely use those for. And it also gives me a bit more practice with the medium before I get good paints and try a detailed, like a photorealistic painting. So that's, I'm pretty happy overall with this box. I love that they gave us a palette. I like that they gave us two. I do have to give them credit for two canvas boards. I'm not going to paint gouache on this canvas board, but one of my complaints on one of the Smart Art Boxes last time they gave us canvas boards, they only gave us one, and I had wished they gave us more that we could play with that medium more. And I do really like that they gave us two in this one. It's just not the best surface for this medium. So I'll save that one for, actually I'm going to give it to my friend, but if I were not, I would save it for painting on, painting on with like acrylics or oils, not for watercolor or gouache. But yeah, overall, again, pretty good amount of colors there. I barely used any of these. Like, it really does, they go a very long ways. That's a lot of color to play with. And the paintbrushes that I used out of this set, these ones were who were these by? Snap, Round, and Filbert. They're okay. They're a little on the soft side for a Filbert, a little bit softer than what I typically like. Actually, the Round was better, but the Filbert was a little bit bendy, but still decent. Those are okay. I don't know that I'd run out and like, this is the best brush ever, you have to buy this, but the handles are actually really nice. I just, as far as the bristles, like these are, see how they're kind of separating a bit more than what I typically see. Do I have one up here? Let's see if I have one that I can show you when I get them wet. They don't usually group up like that when they're dry. They don't. Maybe they do a little. This one is just, I don't know, it's separating more than what these ones are. Like, they say smaller sections, where this one's like big chunks separating. It almost feels kind of like a watercolor brush, which I guess is suitable for this medium, but it doesn't feel, like for my acrylic painting and such, it's not one that I would probably run out and get. I did like the Round one decently enough. The handles, again, are good. I'd be curious about some of their other bristles. These are just a little bit softer, I think, than typical. But yeah, as far as like overall palette, great for this. The gouache I really liked. Not a huge fan of the canvases included. The brushes are okay. So there's my overall like review of what I liked and disliked about this box. But a fun box. Like, this came with a lot of stuff and enough, especially if I use some of my other watercolor papers. I can do so many paintings with what this came with. So really good practice. Definitely gives you an idea of, is this a medium that I like or not? Now that I've tried it with these, which are going to be a bit cheaper of supplies, I know I do like the gouache. I do want to get more expensive ones. I want to paint more with those. So, really, this is one of the more fun boxes I think that I played with in a while. Well, I haven't played with any in a while, but when I wasn't so far behind, this one was definitely a fun one. Let's answer a few questions before we wrap this up. Let's see. Super evil Russian said, what happened to your computer? It's just gotten to where it's old, and the programs that I'm using to edit my videos I'm using Photoshop or Adobe Premiere Pro, and I've got all these add-ons for like having little pop-ups and all these cool things, and my computer is like, no, no, I'm old, and I don't like all this new stuff you're trying to make me do, and so now every time you try to edit, I'm just going to freeze. And it's going to take you 3 to 5 days to do something that should be like 5 hours of work. So I'm just having to hold off on editing those videos because the level of frustration is so high, and it's getting like, I'm not getting work. It's frustrating. The whole process right now is frustrating because I'm not getting work done, which means it's bad. So, that is what happened to my computer. It's just old. Like, there's nothing specifically wrong. I'm sure if I replace certain aspects, I might be able to get it running decently enough, but it's like, it's so old now that it's just time to get a new one. The problem is the one that I chose, it's the MSI Trident, the i9 something 32 gig. I don't know. It's not available yet. So I found a website that the one that I ordered it from, it still says back ordered. I pre-ordered, but then there's another website that I don't like that company as much, but they do have it available now. And I'm almost tempted to cancel the pre-order and go ahead and order from them. But their shipping is like 7 to 10 days, which is insane. I don't know why you would take that long to ship something, but especially an item as expensive as this one. So yeah, I don't know what I'm just waiting. I'm waiting and frustrated because I thought that computer would be here by now, but it is not. So yeah, that's the story of my computer. Jen said, have you found an oil paint that doesn't have a strong odor or require a lot of ventilation? I work in small spaces. I mean, I've been using the Winsor & Newton, Grumbacher, all of those with my liquid as my mixing medium. The thing that smells the worst to me with oil paintings are if you're using terpenoid or turpentines. Those seem to be the thing that really, like, instant headache for me. I can't be around that stuff. So I use odorless mineral spirits, or you can use like Gamsol. It costs a bit more, but it's supposed to be less toxic. I don't know what the tests are that show that it's less toxic than like Mona Lisa odorless. Whatever, they both work. I use Mona Lisa odorless because I can get a gallon of it. But actually, it's sitting right here. But this stuff, it doesn't smell like it's not a strong smell. So in that, when I'd had students bring in terpenoid and turpentine and all of these different things to clean their brushes with or to thin the paint with, the smell was horrible. So yeah, oil paint all has a strong smell, but it's not so strong that I wasn't able to tolerate it in a small room as long as I used the odorless mineral spirits versus terpenoid, turpentine. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. This is the only, like, the odorless mineral spirits with either Gamsol or the Mona Lisa odorless are the only two I can personally tolerate. Like in my classroom, I couldn't allow someone to bring in the other ones. Like even if somebody had used one of those things to clean their brushes with years ago, they'd open the thing, maybe not years ago, months ago. They'd open the container where their brushes were and it would just knock you out. Like the smell was so strong. That seemed to be the biggest problem. The paint's not usually that much of an odor, not in comparison to the whatever they were cleaning their brushes with. I'm not sure that's helpful to you, but I like the smell of oils, so that maybe I'm not the person to ask. But like I said, the Grumbacher and Winsor & Newton, the smell was not that bad. I mean, I wouldn't bring my birds into the room. It's not healthy for them, but it's not super, super strong as long as you're sticking with an odorless mineral spirits for cleaning. Let's see. Rachel said, you should donate any extra supplies to your local high school. Well, I donate it to my local friends. They can use it. I don't have so many supplies that it's going to help a high school, and I don't drive. So going anywhere, my friends will come pick it up. So that works out better for me. They can donate it where they want from there if they don't want it. Let's see. I am live painting Godzilla. You excited for the new movie? That's not my type. No, not my type of movie. My husband, I'm sure, will go see it. I will stay home and paint or work. The Cove said, can you let it dry on the palette and reactivate it with water? Yes, absolutely. Like these areas here. Let's see which areas are dry. Like that green is cold. Well, it's yellow to you guys. It's totally dry. And now it's reactivated. Just add water. Just like with Inktense. So that's it for me. Pretty huge bonus. That's very convenient compared to acrylics. With acrylics, you have to scrape it off when it starts to dry. You can't reactivate that. It just adds chunks into your paint. When will I be making another graphite piece? Very soon, because one of the things that coming up that I want to do after I get some of these other projects I need to get out of the way, I want to do like an intro to graphite. So it'll be a basic drawing, like graphite basics, and then a project after that. So soon, very, very soon. PZ Cherokee said, when will you be... Oh, wait, no, I got that one. Thanks, Arcees. Jacqueline said, do you have a video on blending with acrylic? I'm having such a hard time with that. I mean, any of my acrylic videos kind of go over that. I do have one. If you look up Lachri and wet into wet, just type in those terms, you should get one. It was tulips, I think, and I show you how to use a mop brush. But I mean, yeah, it's blending acrylic. It dries very quickly. So that's just, you have to learn to paint fast and you have to practice. And sooner or later, no matter how hard it feels right now, it will start to make sense the more you practice, the more you play with it, the more you do it wrong. Because you do something and you're like, well, that didn't work. Let me try something else. And you're going to learn a lot from that. But yeah, look up Lachri and wet into wet, I think is what it was titled. And it should be some red or orange tulip. Was it red and yellow tulips? It was a while ago. It's an older video, but that one is a good start, I think. Also my intro to acrylic painting in general, where I did the copper banded butterfly, I think that there's some blending in the background there that might help too. And that's a slower video, a longer one. Super said, yeah, old laggy computers piss me off to no end. Hope it gets to you soon. Me too. Yeah, it's very frustrating when I'll be doing something and then it freezes up and then I'm doing something and it freezes and I'm just like, I'm done. I'm just done. Yes. Let's see. Kyle says he'll take my husband to see it. Yeah, you and him can go see that together. Me and Anna will stay here and play with gouache. I think that sounds like a good day. How much longer will this live video be? It is over. It is 10:05 and I have to go do a water change and take out my dogs and mop the floor and get ready for my parents to come. So yes, we are done for the night. Next week, I forget what next week. Do I even have a plan for next week? I don't have a plan yet. I don't know what we're doing next week. It'll be something. I don't know. I guess it depends on whether or not my new computer's here, because that is limiting me right now. But I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for joining. Make sure you check out our moderators' channels. Joseph has an art channel linked in the video description, and Kyle has a channel on aquariums that he never posts to. So, you know, you can give him a hard time and go subscribe and tell him you want to see more videos. So, yep, that's it. I will see you guys later. Thanks for joining.